Hey, welcome into another episode of Halos in the Infield with your host, Todd Fox, and the other host of the show.
Fernando Mendez.
Yes, Fernando Mendez in the house tonight. But before we get to our special guest that we're going to interview tonight, another Angel, we're gonna let you know that where you can find us on podcast form. You look us up on Apple, Podbean, Anchor, wherever you subscribe for podcasts. We're there. Give us a like and subscribe. Also on YouTube under Halos in the Infield, we'd much appreciate it. A 5-star review on podcast and a like and subscribe over there. So with that being said, we're going to interview a guy who tops out at about 64 miles per hour with his key knuckleball pitch, Ben Joyce. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Thanks for having me.
All right. Good to have you on. You want to get started, Fernando?
Yeah, so I'll take it away. So as Todd already said, Ben Joyce joining us now. He was the third round draft pick of our Angels in 2022. Went to the University of Tennessee where he graduated with a finance degree, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And he also casually threw the fastest pitch recorded in college baseball history at 105.5 miles an hour. Now, your velocity is obviously something that people talk about all the time. You know, Ben Joyce, synonymous with that 105-mile-an-hour fastball. Is there a piece of you that gets a little insulted, though, when it's always just your velocity? You're kind of like, hey, I'm not one-dimensional. Like, I'm also working on this.
Yeah, I mean, especially now, I'm throwing a harder slider. I mean, may end up throwing that more than the fastball. Who knows? Yeah, I think at least in college I was probably 95% fastball, so I think it was kind of fair that that's all I was known for. But now I'm throwing the harder slider and the sweeper as well, so trying to be a little more well-rounded and not just be known for the fastball.
Do you have like a backdoor slider, or is it more one that tails off the side of the plate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing the it's more of a cutter, so it's shorter action, and then the sweeper is big horizontal action, and then I'm throwing a splitter as well, that goes to my arm side. So I kind of got two that go to my glove side and one that goes to my arm side.
Wow, that's good because I mean, I'm telling you, the fans were up here. They're like, "Hey, do you hear about that guy Joyce? He could throw over 100 miles per hour. Closer, he's our closer." I'm like, "Hey, hold on, let's see what he got first, man. He's got to come up here and do his thing." But because a lot of the scouts were like, "Oh, he's a one pitch guy," but like like Fernando was saying, but man, you got sliders and a splitter. That's great to hear.
Yeah, that was definitely something that I had to change from college because, I mean, in college I could get away with 95% fastball, but I mean, at the big league level, like it really doesn't matter how hard you throw; they're going to time you up if you can only throw one pitch. So that was a big focus this offseason was learning those other pitches, and I think it's gone really well, and I'm starting to see some good results with them.
So I'm definitely going to butcher this. So you're probably going to have to walk me through it. But let's take it back to Farragut High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. How close was that?
Farragut, they're very
Farragut.
close. Yeah.
Okay. So specifically 2018, where your team made it to the state playoffs and you were a senior. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was awesome. That was really my first full year getting to pitch. I had my freshman and sophomore year, I was on the JV team. Just kind of little short, scrawny kid, just trying to make the team. And then my junior year, I had some growth plate issues, so I didn't get to pitch. And then so I finally got to throw my senior year. And me and I have an identical twin brother. We were both the kind of main relief pitchers that year, so it was a lot of fun getting to throw in big situations. And we made it to the playoffs. We didn't end up winning that year, but it was a good team, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of guys went on to play Division I from that team, and a few guys still playing in pro ball.
So speaking of, high school, you were throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastball in high school, and you were ranked 81st by perfect game for the entire state of Tennessee. So at what point did you start to hear chatter about college scouts? Were you aware they were there? How often were they at your games? Did you know they were looking at you and a couple other guys? What was that like?
Yeah, so I mean, I really didn't get recruited at all until my senior year. That was kind of when I started throwing a little harder. I know it says on the thing that I threw 100 in high school. I don't know about all that. I think it was more like low 90s. But
Well, you'd have to talk to the volunteers for their website. It says you were throwing
yeah, I
100.
remember them putting that up there, and I was like, I don't know where they got that from, but I guess I'll go with it. Yeah, but so my senior year, I kind of started. It was just some D2 schools around Tennessee, a few junior colleges, and then I eventually ended up with talking to Walter State Community College, and that was kind of where I figured I could develop the most, and eventually end up at a Division I school.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines you had like a rookie of the year type moment. You know, you broke your arm and all of a sudden you came back, threw 100 miles per hour. But all right,
Yeah.
so you figured that out in college. All right.
Yeah, I kind of have. I guess. Well, I did get Tommy John, and then I started throwing harder after that. So I guess somewhat similar.
We're gonna get to the Tommy John thing, so don't jump the gun.
Oh, sorry.
So you grew up as a fan of the Volunteers, right? So was that kind of always the plan mentally, like, hey, I want to play for them one day?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was. I mean, growing up, they really didn't have the best baseball program. Like, kind of when I was in middle school, like really getting into baseball, they were kind of having some down years, and even into high school. But I mean, I would always go to Tennessee camps growing up. Always go to games on the weekends. I'd go to the weekend series games. There'd be 200 people in the stands. We get free tickets to the game, just for like donating a few cans. And so it's changed a lot since then. But I mean, I always knew I wanted to go there. I was in love with the school, and just the fan base for every sport was awesome, especially football. Just going to football games growing up, I kind of knew that's where I wanted to be.
Did you have any other schools that were maybe more like a plan B, plan C if it didn't work out with Tennessee?
Yeah, at a junior college, I talked to a few other SEC schools. Some Big 12 schools were big in junior college, a few ACC schools. But I think for me, it was kind of, I just fell in love with the coaching staff at Tennessee, and I kind of knew that's where I wanted to go.
How'd they help you progress in your mind, the Tennessee coaches over there when you had your time there at the college?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing was just mentally. They're super big on the mental aspect of the game, and just always going out there and competing. And if you don't have your best stuff, our strength coach was really big, and just instilling that mental toughness in us. Because I mean, there's sometimes you're out there on the mound and at an away SEC game, and feels like you're just on an island by yourself, and
Mm.
it's just that, like, learning how to deal with those things. And I think that's helped me a lot in my career going forward. When I do like have a down game, or I don't have my best stuff, how I can still work through it and get out of it. That was a big thing. And just really learning how to be more of a complete pitcher. Our pitching coach, Coach Anderson, he was awesome, and just helping us with pitch sequencing and learning off speed pitches, all that stuff. So I think it just really made me a more complete pitcher and able to handle the bigger situations mentally as well.
Okay.
So speaking of the mental side of things, let's talk now about the Tommy John surgery in college. So talk to me about that process. You know, talk to me about the injury. What was going through your mind when they told you, "Hey, we're gonna have to shut you down. You're probably gonna need Tommy John." Walk us through that entire situation.
Yeah, so it was I'd kind of just been on campus for a month or two. It was our first actual inter squad game in the fall, and I threw my first inning. It was probably the best inning I've ever thrown in my life, like not even close. And the last pitch, it was a fastball. I think it was like 100 or 101. Um, and I just felt a pop. I luckily like got the strikeout on that pitch and got out of the inning. So I was kind of like pacing back and forth in the dugout. I was like, did I imagine that, or did that actually just happen? And then I went out for the second inning, and I just couldn't get anything behind it. The trainer could just tell by my face that something was wrong. So I ended up getting pulled out of the game, and I kind of knew that it was probably going to end up being Tommy John. Um, so I ended up getting the surgery like a week or two later, and that was a tough like few months for sure. Just I finally got that taste of being at Tennessee where I always dreamed of being, and it was taken away literally within the first inter squad. And I was just kind of sitting there. You almost feel like you're just by yourself because you can't do anything with the team, no working out, lifting, all that stuff. So it was definitely tough mentally for a few months, and then just really grinded in the weight room as much as I could. Tried to just watch all the games, just learn what I could just from watching, and then just finally when I started my throwing program, I just took it as seriously as I could. Um, all the arm care, everything, and I think that really paid off in the end.
So there's a lot of pitchers who come back post Tommy John, and they say like the hardest thing after the surgery, more so than the actual rehab, is the mental side of, okay, I'm gonna throw this fastball because they're always afraid of that, repop. Was that a mental barrier you had to cross too? Like, did you have that like kind of moment?
Yeah, I think that. So I didn't throw again until the fall of my second year at Tennessee, and I mean starting in inter squads, and we had a few fall games. I was almost like a little timid, like scared to really let it go. And luckily, there were some guys there that had kind of gone through it. My brother had actually gone through it about 10 months before me. He got the surgery, so I just kind of had them to lean on, and they're like, it's your UCL's 3 times stronger than it was before. Like you're perfectly healed, like nothing's gonna happen. And then once I got over that, it was kind of just full steam ahead.
Does your brother throw pretty hard too?
Yeah, he's up to like 98 or 99 this year. He's pitching for Tennessee still.
Oh wow, okay. So at
Hmm.
least you can go and attend those games too when you get a chance, right?
Yeah, they actually played out here. Their first games were out in the Diamondbacks facility, so I got to see them
Okay.
play out here.
All right. And then like as far as like, it's rare when a pitcher gets a second, TJ, but do you feel a little kind of blessed right now that you kind of got that one out of the way where you can kind of toughen
Hmm.
up your arm moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got so much good out of it. Obviously, in the moment, it seemed like it was this big, like end of the world thing, but I think I got a lot of good out of it. And I mean, it almost seems like it's not inevitable, but a lot of people end up getting it, and I think you can come out of the come out of it a lot stronger than you were before. So I think it was almost a blessing in disguise for sure.
Did you have moments of doubt during that rehab process? Like, oh, maybe I might not be as good as I was, if not better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really hadn't proved anything before. I had a few junior college innings, and um, I mean, people just kind of knew about me just because I think I hit like 100 or 101 at Walter State. I really hadn't done any meaningful pitching, so it was almost like I need to get through this and actually prove myself. And there was definitely times where I was like, well, who knows what it'll even be like afterwards. So it was definitely tough mentally for sure.
So walk me through that first pitch post surgery. You're going in there, you're at the game, and you came out of the gates pretty hot. I mean, you threw triple digits post surgery, first game back. What was that like? Was that a moment of confidence? Like, okay, hey, I can do this. I already got the first one out of the way. Let's get to work.
Yeah, I think for me, so I threw in a few like scrimmages in the fall, and those were a little kind of shaky. Like I said, it was still kind of holding back, and then that first game of the year, it was actually inter squad right before the season started. I was just like, I had no idea where the ball was going. I was like, I think I'm hurt again, and Seth Halverson, he's playing for Tennessee still. He came up to me and he was like, dude, like your stuff is amazing. Like, just let it go. Like, whatever happens, it's in God's hands. Like, you can't do anything about it. I was like, and I kind of really took that to heart. And then that first game we played Georgia Southern, I came in and I think my first pitch was like 101, and I could hear the crowd kind of rile up a little bit, and I think that gave me all the confidence I really needed. And then after that, it was kind of just every outing I was just going out there and just letting it go, and that's when I saw the best results.
When you're on the mound and you're throwing that fast and you feel the electricity of the crowd, are you more of like a fist pump kind of guy when you get a strikeout to end the inning, or you have some sort of celebration, or you just quietly walk off the mound?
It kind of depends. There was a few games in last year where I was really getting into it, and I'd give a fist bump or like kind of say something. I don't even know. I usually kind of don't even remember what I said, but then there's sometimes where I'm just like kind of trying to look cool and strut off the mound, I guess. It kind of just depends on the situation.
We have you have time to find your niche, man. When it comes to your celebration, I mean, I don't think you should do the Trevor Bauer type sword in the the side or
Yeah.
whatever.
The
But
McGregor strut.
yeah, you got to come
Yeah.
up with something, man. You throw that kind of fire, you got to have some sort of celebration, man.
Yeah, I agree. I really need to work on that for sure.
I think you should just turn at the center field camera and just kind of smile
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
time.
wink at the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Aroldis Chapman after he threw the fastball after pooping himself on the mound, he just looked at center field camera and just smiled. Okay, so walk me through draft day and what it was like getting your name called 89th overall.
Yeah, it was a crazy day. I mean, the first and second round, I mean, there was a chance like someone would take a deal and I'd go then, and that kind of went past. So the second day was like the start of the third round. It was just super fast moving. There was like a bunch of different teams that like could have worked out. I'd really only talked to the Angels at the combine
Well,
before the draft. So I knew a good bit about them from that conversation, but it wasn't like I was talking to them all the time. They were kind of one of the ones that was just one and done kind of thing. Um, so I was just kind of sitting there, and my agent calls me. He's like, "Hey, would you like to be an Angel?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Like, I'd love to." And then he's like, "All right, well, your name's gonna get called here soon." And I think I think I kind of like blacked out a little bit. I was like, my parents were like obviously knew I was on the phone with them, and they were like, I was like, just watch the TV, like it's about to happen, and then my name got called, and that was probably one of the coolest experiences of my life for sure, and just all the hard work paying off and getting to hear my name called in the draft.
yeah,
Did
we
your
just
fa-
had Zach Neto on, and Zach Neto said almost the same thing about like, except he said the Angels didn't talk to him at all.
Yeah,
So it seems like a lot of the guys are, just saying that the Angels, especially Perry, just kind of works in silence.
yeah, it's interesting like just how differently teams do it, and I mean they definitely went out and did scouting. Like they're like just talking with them after there were scouts at some of the games, but they're really kind of laying low and just scouting from afar, I guess, which I think is a really good way to do it.
Yeah, I think the previous regime was more along the lines of telling you who they were going to draft, and then we'd lose those guys. But this regime seems to be, like Fernando said, very very quiet, and but when they do talk to you, it seems like they keep you on their board. Like
Yeah.
they're not just like talking to you to talk to you. They're pretty serious about you. So we're happy they got you. And how was it? When you saw yourself on television? I know you said it was like you kind of blacked out a bit, but was your family around you pretty emotional and everything?
Yeah, my mom and dad were both crying. My brother was there. A few of my buddies from Tennessee. My girlfriend was there. Everyone was. It was an awesome experience just having them all there. And my mom, I don't think she stopped crying for like an hour. That was it was
That's
pretty.
awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome moment for sure, and it was good to have all them there and get to share that moment with them.
That's great. You must have told her like 30 times, Mom, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, I'm not crying like because I'm sad. I'm just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think about it from her, right? Dealing with all the baseball practices and the long travel. I'm assuming you play travel ball, the long,
Yeah.
travel ball trips and all the BS that comes with like playing baseball growing up as a kid. Obviously, you love it, but I mean, it's not fun for the parents to deal with. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I definitely wouldn't be here without them because they
of
were,
course, yeah.
I mean, me and my brother, we were from sixth grade on, we were at that baseball field every single day, I think, just we needed rides there, rides back, big grocery bills. So, I mean, I owe a lot to them for sure.
Well, that's great.
That's
I mean, it does pay off. The more interviews we've done with the selections by the Angels, they have similar stories. Like Fernando said, was that Neto's family too?
Hmm. Yeah.
So let's real quick talk about the signing process post draft. So obviously the information is out there. Respectfully, I won't say how much you signed for, but you did sign well over slot. So I don't know if you're going to give me the cliche answer that it's not about the money, but realistically, man, you earned every penny you got. So was that kind of something you were mindful of? Yeah, you got a degree, but you worked for the money that you signed for, or did it really not matter to you at all?
I mean, obviously I just wanted to play at the professional level. I really didn't even, honestly, to be completely truthful, I didn't know like what to even expect in that regard. Going into the draft, it was kind of like up to my agent. Like they were working it out, and it ended up working out really well, and I'm thankful for that. But I mean, for me, it was just whatever happens, happens, and I'm just trying to play professional baseball and eventually make it to the big leagues where that won't even matter anyways.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's fair. So you went straight to a contending Trash Pandas team. Your first outing, you gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs with a strikeout in your first pro inning. What was it like to essentially get thrown in the deep end? I mean, this is a team contending for the second half title, and you're going straight to Double A.
I loved it. I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted to move quick and get thrown in there because I think that's where you learn the most. Like whether obviously my first outing didn't go great, and I learned a lot from that. And I don't think I would have learned that if I just took the rest of the year to develop and not throw at all. I think just going out there and throwing in a game like that is where you really learn the most about yourself and what pitches work at this level and what don't. So I was like super grateful for that opportunity, and I think that first outing really helped me a lot because I mean on paper it looked bad, but for me I broke the 4 of the hits were broken bat singles and
Hmm.
was throwing strikes and all that. So I think I kind of learned what works and what doesn't, and that was when I really knew like I needed to get that harder slider. So I think all in all it was an awesome experience.
Is that what you worked on primarily this offseason, that slider?
Yeah, that was almost like my complete focus was staying healthy, like trying to maybe get a little stronger and then work on that cutter.
Yeah, you get those pitches with you start landing that fastball and getting swings and misses on that, and then you hit them with a slider. You're going to make a lot of players look foolish up there. So when you're on the mound in that first appearance, I mean, were your knees jello? Or were you able to pretty much, from your Tennessee days, keep a good composure and just know that, hey, I got to work through this inning or two?
Yeah, I feel like I kept my composure pretty well. I think I was well prepared for that kind of situation.
Okay.
Um, I mean, it was definitely not how I envisioned it going for sure, but
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it got to work out of it, and my next however many outings I thought were great after that. So it was kind of just a stepping stone, and I thought I handled it pretty well, and I kept my composure pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, broken bats, I mean, that's you can't control the ball goes after that. But I mean, if you're breaking
Hmm.
bats, man, you're doing something good. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
there's no shame in that inning, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you ended up your first pro season with a 1-0 record, 2.08 ERA, 20 strikeouts, and a save in 13 appearances. So clearly, your first outing didn't phase you much. And you're absolutely right when you say that you obviously were able to take what, quote unquote mistakes might have been made the first outing and clearly turn it around because those are great numbers for a first pro season. All right. So I guess one of the last questions, do you enjoy knowing that the organization has high hopes for you and they have you on this kind of accelerated path forward?
Yeah, I mean it's super exciting. I'm super grateful for like the opportunities they're giving me and how fast they're pushing me through this because I think that's the way I'm going to learn. And I honestly think like if I throw to my ability, I can pitch at the major league level now. It's just fine tuning all the other stuff that goes along with that. And they're awesome working with me with all that stuff and super. Just you can just tell they're in my corner. Just whatever I need, they're helping me with it. Whether it's extra fielding practice, extra stuff in bullpens, all that stuff. They've been awesome and super grateful for them for that.
That's a clip right there, Todd. I
There
can
you
throw
go.
in the majors right now.
Yeah. And then my last question to you is, we've talked to a few of the other guys that have been drafted in those draft classes that Perry went out and got all the pitchers. And, they've all said that you guys are pretty close, especially at the trash panda level. Is that true? You guys pretty good, with teaching each other or looking at another pitcher and being like, hey man, maybe you should try this, giving each other tips, being very encouraging. You guys pretty close over there?
Yeah, it's awesome. Like every bullpen, all the other guys are watching, and giving feedback if you want it, or always open for feedback. It doesn't matter who they are, how long they've been pitching. They're all there and they're all supporting everyone. And it's been cool to just see how welcoming everyone was, especially, I mean, my first spring training, they're asking me if I need anything, asking me if I'm comfortable with what all they're doing, and or if I need help with anything. And it's super cool to see the atmosphere that they've built here in this organization.
Yeah, we heard the vibes very good over there.
It's awesome. I mean, even just not even from a pitching standpoint, like guys they brought in like Brett Phillips, I mean, he's one of the best dudes I've ever met, I think. And
Oh wow.
every day he's asking me like how I'm doing, like how's my family, all this stuff. It's just super cool to see how invested they are in everyone else.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you how your first spring training's been, but I mean, I feel like you kind of already answered that. So, last question, I guess I have formally here, and this is what we ask every single minor leaguer who we've had on the show for the last 3 years. The minor leagues are an absolute grind. Obviously, you guys are in a little bit better shape now than, some of the guys 5, 6, 10 years ago. But with that being said, things in the minors still aren't perfect. So, why is Ben Joyce going to make it to the show?
I think for me, it's just the work ethic that I've instilled since I was in sixth grade when I started getting into the middle school program. I mean, I was going every day, working out, looking up workouts I could do, mobility routines. I was at the field almost 24 hours a day. Like that's almost not an exaggeration. I was always trying to get an edge and everything, and I think that left a chip on my shoulder, and I'm continuing to work that way even now. So I don't see why the work is not going to be what holds me back. That's for sure. And I think I'm just continuing to get better every day, and whatever I need to do to make it there and stick, I'm going to do it. So
That's good to hear, man. We'd love to see you come out of that bullpen in Anaheim. That's for sure.
oh, I would love to be there.
Wait, what would be your theme song coming out?
My walkout song was "Shoot to Thrill" by AC/DC last
All right.
year.
Okay.
That was pretty good. I maybe might try to find something a little more like with a little more of a build up.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't know.
I've always wanted to see somebody come out to Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And by the way, tell Perry, give him a nudge next time you see him, and say, hey man, I got a brother that can pitch too, twin brother. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I'm hoping they know about him. He's doing pretty well so far.
That's good. It's good to hear, man.
You guys super close. You guys talk all the time, about, him talking to you about your pro baseball experience, and, you still talking to him about college?
Yeah, we're super close. I mean, every time he pitches, every time I pitch, we're always talking about it and trying to get stuff from each other, to like some stuff we could take away from it. So we're always keeping in contact. It's actually really kind of the first year we haven't been on the same team together since we were like 3 years old. So
that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, it was a little weird. It's cool to see him having success at Tennessee and just kind of doing our own thing. But yeah, we're definitely still very close.
See, you got to make it happen. You got to bring him back to the team. You got same team.
I'd love that. I'm all for it.
Back end of the rotation for the Angels in 2 years. Why not?
Joyce and Joyce.
Yeah, right. What's been a go-to restaurant for you guys out there in Tempe? Anything good that you found so far? I hear Four Peaks is good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I went to, this is more, I guess, Scottsdale, but there was the burger place, Rehab Burger Therapy, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
We're out in Scottsdale. That was a good one.
There was a place I went to out in Scottsdale that sells burgers too. I went there with Ty Buttry last year. I forgot what it was. It was I'll find it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very simple. If they've got a Chipotle, I'm all good. So there's one right across from the stadium, and I'm going there quite a bit.
But you got to do Waffle House in Tempe. Got to do Waffle.
Yeah, Waffle House is always good.
Yeah, exactly.
I've frequented that Waffle House many times. I used to have to go to Tempe every month.
Go for the food and stay for the fights.
Exactly.
you go.
It's always dinner with a show is always a Waffle House.
Exactly.
I mean, you grew up in Tennessee, so it's definitely. I used to have to go out to Memphis, and he used to live in Memphis.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a dime a dozen out there. Those Waffle Houses,
Oh my gosh, they're everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
and every single one of them is packed all the time.
It doesn't matter what time of the day. There's gonna be every booth's gonna be full.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I one thing I'll never understand about Waffle House is like how that's the same goddamn bacon that I make at home, yet it tastes better there. It's the same ingredients that you get at home at
Yeah.
the grocery store, and somehow it tastes better there.
Yep, every time. I don't know how.
Well,
All
thank,
right, well,
thank you so much for your time, Ben. And like me and Fernando have been saying, we hope to see you soon on the mound here in Anaheim.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
where can the listeners find you, Ben?
I have Instagram, Ben_Joyce08, a Twitter, Ben Joyce08. Yeah, I mean, if you come out to Tempe, maybe you could say hey, come to spring training game.
There you go.
And then after that, we'll see where I end up. But I'm always open to meeting fans and keeping in contact with fans. I love it.
That's awesome. And you know what? Keep us in mind when you make it to Anaheim. We'd like to
Oh,
take a
of course, of course.
selfie. But all right, that's any final words, Fernando?
No, thanks again, Ben, for the time, man. We really appreciate you making this happen. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon out here in Anaheim.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Best of luck. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.